Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I'm in downtown Los Angeles, and I'm at the Latinitude event hosted by NAREP, and my next guest is Karina. Karina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Karina, so tons of people out there. I think they had over 400 people RSVP. This is one of my favorite events for NAREP of the year. What brings you out today?
Yeah, I was one of the speakers today during the sports panel, and I think this is an amazing event. Anytime that we can commune as Latinas and learn from each other, I'm always happy to be here.
We'll talk a little bit more about what you spoke about and what took place on stage. They keep me in here working and doing interviews, so I don't I know. Tell me what happened. Give me the updates.
So background. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Drafted, and we are a social first media company that tells stories about Latina sports culture.
Wow.
So what that means for us is everything that we do starts on social media and then expands from there, really with the goal of using culture and sports culture to connect with that younger generation Latina, who for us has been under-celebrated. So the panel was really just about the impact that sports has, how Latinas are kind of shaping sports, and really how vital sports are to community.
How'd you come up with that idea originally? Take me back a bit.
Yeah. So it's myself and my co-founder. For us, there's a lot of layers to how our story came about, but we both experienced being young athletes as kids. We love sports. And then as we kind of grew up through the ranks, we just developed fandom and both never felt like sports and sports marketing and the entire sports culture ecosystem was really catered to Latinas, despite the fact that we have tremendous buying power, despite the fact that it is so inherently part of our culture. No matter what, it always felt like the marketing and everything the ecosystem was set up for our male Latino counterparts. And so we created Drafted, and being a media company was super important to us because we wanted to be able to kind of shift the narrative, and the only way we knew how to do that was in two ways, which was telling the stories and being that media company, but also because we have that content grab, we're able to really draw zero-party data. And I think for us, those two pieces, the data and the media, really are the things that can drive change.
Why do you think it's caught on so well? What do you think's made it successful? Because some people, no, not dissing any other companies, but it's not easy to do. Being media is not easy. Like building a following, like getting people to care. Like, what do you think made it is making it so successful?
I think there's a couple different things, and I think I think the business model is set up really perfectly timed with how so many things in popular culture and how trends are happening. So I think first and foremost, you have media kind of changing. Consumers were mostly focused on the younger consumer is learning about stories and being educated through social media first. And that's how Gen Z is consuming content. And that's why we're so intentional with being social first. So I think we have that change behavior, which in our opinion really democratizes the opportunity to grow, because you don't have to be on a Vogue, you don't have to be on a .com. So I think there's that trend. I think the second part of it is women's sports is finally receiving the recognition and the and not just the recognition, but the money. The money.
Yeah. Money matters.
Money super matters. And you're seeing a wave of huge brands really take notice and spend millions and millions of dollars. And then I think the third one is which I think is probably the trend that still is growing, but I think there's finally starting to be a little bit of an unlock with the power of the Latino consumer. And so I think we're kind of at the middle of all three of those trends. Yeah. And I think for us, we caught on a little bit early, but I think all those are kind of bubbling. And, I think with some strategic opportunities for us, like we're really kind of primed to kind of be that that company that meets at the epicenter of those three. Yeah.
Talk to maybe some of the other, and I many times I ask this question, but I'm going to ask it a little bit more specific on this one. Okay. Latina creators that it doesn't have to be sports, doesn't have to be, but like just as they go about wanting to tell their story, whatever that is authentically to them, what kind of advice would you give them? Speaking specifically to the Latina creator.
Yeah, I think there's so many things that we can do, but I think for Latina creators specifically, like we have the ability now to, our stories are no longer needed to be gatekept, right? I think traditional media, which is a massive, I think when you look at traditional media and how things were done, it's always been this kind of tiered system where there was the story and then the intermediate, either publicist or kind of gatekeeper, and then the actual media company. Now the creator has the opportunity to tell their story or tell any part of their story and give their point of view. So I think the creators that do the best, the ones that are authentically themselves and don't try to be anyone else, but also find that area of expertise and aren't afraid to give their opinion. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit polarizing. But I think when you think about it, is like people want to learn from people. And if you're not providing that personality and you're not giving that, and I think just practice. I think there's a lot of fear with getting it perfect, but it really doesn't matter. I think it's just about getting out there and trying. And
I
even
tell
if
people
it takes
that so
1,000 videos,
much. Yeah. So my first 300 episodes, like I said, like they weren't even edited. We just put them up there, and you could have called that, recorded telephone calls with Adam, uploaded, and people were still listening to them. And I'm like, it wasn't even good.
Well, I mean, I think it speaks to a few things. And, I think what's really interesting now is social is really no longer social media. It's really interest media. And so you never really know what video will take off. Because every time you post it, it kind of like democratizes it. Like whether someone has 100,000 followers or 100 followers, they kind of have the same opportunity to reach millions of people. It really just depends on how you're telling those stories and that it catches wind to the right interest group. So I think everyone before was really focused on growing a following. But for me, it's like, how are you refining that storytelling so that it catches wind to the people who are interested in it? And that's really how you're able to grow great content.
Yeah, it's great. All right, so final question here. What's next? What's next for you? What's next for Drafted?
Short-sighted, the World Cup. The World Cup is, personally, I'm stoked. But I think when we're, again, talking about kind of those trends, I think we're really excited about the World Cup because who is the number one consumer in the States of football or soccer? It's Latinos. And so I think it is going to be such an amazing opportunity for brands and really just like the entire nation to see the power of the game and the power of this consumer, which I hope will really kind of catapult how we talk to this consumer going forward, because they're going to just see so much value out of them. So for us, it's the World Cup.
Yeah, that's going to be big.
Which
that's going to be...
Again, couldn't be.
What are you going to be doing during that time?
Hopefully very busy and working
and not sleeping.
But, we have some really great things kind of coming up. Then some new IP that we're launching experientially and content-wise leading up to the World Cup. All talking to the female fan consumer.
Oh, that's going to be insane. I can't wait. I'm so excited to follow along. Last thing I want you to do, look into the camera. How do people follow along in your platform? How do they connect? What are the next steps for them?
Yeah, if you want to follow along and hear the stories of amazing Latinas and the impact that we have in sports, you can go to Instagram at We Are Drafted Co. Or on TikTok of We Are Drafted.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Karina, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.